Okay, we would like to thank everyone for coming to another session of our Tuesday night women's class. We would like to thank the hostess, Miss Bernal. Bezat Hashem, she should only have simcha and more Torah in the home. Amen. The last time we were together, we finished off with Hilchot Tevilat Kelim. What we're allowed to dip, what we're not allowed to dip, what we should dip, how we should dip it. It happens to be, I want to edit something from last week. I made a mistake, not on the halacha, but I said a little Dvar Torah on Chanukah, and I said over that the Gemara brings down that the nis was the war. The Gemara says the mitzvah was, or the nis was for the lights, and Hanunot Hadada was the war. So I'm just editing that. This week we're going to talk about hechsher kelim. How do we kosher kelim? The differences between Ashkenazim and Sfaradim. If something becomes not kosher either for hametz, basar v'chalav, or any of these different items. And we're going to go through, hopefully, we'll get through each appliance, from a stovetop to an oven to a sink to a dishwasher. How do we kosher everything? Before that, I wanted to speak a little about what happened in this week's parasha, a very interesting concept. And that is, we find that when Yaakov Avinu was dying, he was on his deathbed, he goes to his son, Yosef HaTzadik, and he says, Yosef, I want you to swear to me that you're going to bury me in Marat HaMachpelah. You're going to bury me with my father, with my grandfather, not here in Mitzrayim. And Yosef says, yes, I swear to you, this will not happen. We're going to all bring you up together. We're going to go to Marat HaMachpelah. He gets there, and what happens? Esav HaRasha is waiting right outside the door. And Esav says, this is my lot. You can't be here. I got this fair and square. I'm the Bechor. And they started to have a fight. Who rightfully owned it? And the Shevatim said, no, this is not yours, this is ours. Our father got the Bechor from you, Bechorah from you. And they sent Naphtali to go get the documents. Naphtali goes all the way back to Mitzrayim. Swift is a deer. He goes to get all the documents, proving that this was actually Yaakov Avinu's and not Esav HaRasha. Now, while all this was happening, there was a person that was there, the son of Dan. His name was Hushim ben Dan. And Hushim was watching as all this was happening, and he was deaf. So he's seeing how everything's going on, and they're leaving their father and their grandfather to be disgraced, not to be buried. So what does he do? He picks up his sword, he cuts off Esav's head, it rolls into the Marat HaMachpelah, and the rest is history. They got to bury Yaakov Avinu. Now, the rabbis asked a question. Why was it Hushim ben Dan that killed Esav? Why didn't Yehuda get up there? Why didn't Yosef? He was a king. Why didn't anyone get up there and do something? Why Hushim ben Dan? And they explain, because the beracha that Yaakov Avinu gave to Dan was Dan Yadin Amo Ka'achat Shiftei Yisrael. You're going to be a judge. Judges will come out of you. And he was looking at it as a judgment. That I'm not here to go and start saying who was right, who was wrong. This is the din, this is the judgment, this is the halacha, and this is what I'm going to do. Now, Rav Henoch Leibowitz asked a question. He says, I understand very good. He had Dan Yadin Amo. He was a judge. But how come no one else did it still? There's so many people that could have judged at that moment. Why didn't they do anything? Why didn't Yehuda get up? Why didn't Yisachar get up? Why didn't Levi get up? And he says, because this is how it works when people get into machloket, when people get into fights. When someone gets into an argument, into a fight, into a machloket, they don't really care about what they're fighting about anymore, or they don't even remember what they're fighting about anymore. They just know that they want to win. I'm going to win this fight. It doesn't make a difference how it started or why it's around, but I'm going to make sure that I win. So they sent Naphtali. We're going to show you that we're right. We're going to go get the documents. And they sent him to go get it. Hushim ben Dan was deaf. He said, I don't even know what's going on anyway. I just see my grandfather being disgraced, and he went and he killed him. Now, it's a tremendous concept to understand that when people get into this machloket, when people get into arguments and fights, that they don't understand why they're fighting very soon after. They just know that for some reason now I don't like you. I don't like you. We're not on good terms. We're not going to talk. We're not going to speak. We're not going to look at each other. And that's how that animosity builds up until it's a massive, it's like a pimple that pusses over after a while. The Gemara in Sanhedrin says that what is a machloket? What is a fight? A fight is like a little hole in a dam. You have a dam where the water, it blocks the water, and you have a little hole. And what comes out? a little trickles out, water, and you're like, no, this isn't going to do anything. But then it gets bigger and bigger and bigger until everything's flooded, and you're trying to stop it now. You can't stop it. Now it's too big already. And I was thinking that this was why they used the lashon he'asefu. If we look in the Pesukim, it says Yaakov Avinu wanted to tell his kids. He wanted to say, when is Mashiach going to come? I'm going to tell you when Mashiach's going to come. Come gather around. He'asefu va'agida lachem ba'acharit hayamim. What's going to happen when Mashiach comes? When he's going to be there? At that moment, God, he took his nevuah away. He forgot what he was going to say. He forgot the time. But I believe the pasuk uses, because he didn't want anyone to know. Hashem didn't want anyone to know when Mashiach's going to come. So when he was going to tell when Mashiach was going to come, he made him forget. He made his nevuah, go away. So he forgets, and he's not able to tell the Shevatim. So he calls them all over, he'asefu. And I was thinking, why does the pasuk use the word he'asefu? Why gather? Why unite? So I was thinking maybe the reason is God is saying that I'm not going to tell you when Mashiach's going to come, but I'm going to tell you how he's going to come. How are we going to bring him? By uniting together. Sfaradim, Ashkenazim, Bitagdim, Hasidim, Chabad, everyone all together. And even in our own families, spouses, husbands and wives, wives and husbands, children and parents. How many times do we find children and parents, they don't talk to each other? So many times they find it. Right now, someone just told me a story that he wanted to go into his parents' complex, his parents' gated community, and the person at the front, mamash yesterday, they asked him, "What's your name?" He said, "My name is so and so. I'm sorry, they don't want you to come. You're on the list. You're banned." He's like, "But it's my father. You're banned." Imagine that a father bans his own son from coming to see him, and we find it by siblings, we find it by friends. There is there's a story that happened in the south of Israel. There was a person that was driving his car. He was a kiruv professional. He was in the middle of doing outreach. He was driving his car, and he heard the sirens. Gaza let out another one of those missiles, and he had to go seek shelter. So he gets off the road as fast as he can, and he goes to somewhere safe. When he comes back, he sees a whole family crowded around a dog. He hit a dog. And they said, "You killed our dog." And they started screaming at him, "You Charedim, you Orthodox, you kill dogs, you don't care about anyone else, you just care about yourselves." So he shut his mouth. He said, "I'm so sorry." He went to the house. He spoke to them. He went time and time and time. He kept on talking to them until they said, "Okay, we're okay with the dog. We're good. And because you're so nice to us, we want to start working on religion." And they started becoming religious. Now this family said, we are a family of means. We're wealthy. And we want to make you a shul. We want to build you a shul so you could do kiruv 24 hours a day. But it's on one condition. You call the shul after our dog. Call it Bet Knesset Igor. We love the dog. So what happens? The person goes, he calls up Rav Yitzchak Zilberstein. And he says, "Am I allowed to name a shul after a dog?" And he goes through the whole thing. He says, "Yes, you could name it after the dog." Now imagine what a normal person would do in this scenario. They would say, "I can't believe you care more about a dog than my life. You care more about how that dog living. I could have been killed by a rocket, but you don't care about me. You care about a dog." But he didn't do that. He didn't do that because he didn't want to make that argument. He didn't want to make machloket. He knew that it's better to keep your mouth shut than to get into a fight over this. And at the end, he has the netzach netzachim. Okay, we're back. Okay, now let's get to. Hopefully, we'll get back to the machloket sugya. Let's get to shiur hechsher kelim. Okay, now hechsher kelim, as we said, is making things kosher that are unkosher. Either you want to use them for Pesach, or you want to use them from meat to milk, milk to meat. Or you go into a new house, it's owned by a non-Jew, and now I got to kosher everything. How do you do them? So first of all, where does it come from? The same thing we learned by Tevilah Kelim is hechsher kelim. Kelim Midyan. The pasuk says that the kelim of Midyan, they had to kosher it from not kosher to kosher. Now this applies to any type of metal keli, any vessel that's made out of metal, wood, plastic, or as we're going to see, there's a dispute regarding glass. If glass can be koshered or not koshered. The most important thing to know in this whole sugya is kibol'o kach polto, which means however you cooked it, however the food was made in this keli, that's the way you have to kosher it. For example, if you roast something, or you use a baking pan where there's no water, it's just straight up food on it, you have to kosher it with libun, which means through a fire or a torch, where it gets red hot, and once it gets red hot to the point where it even turns white and all the lichluch comes out of it, all the dirt and all the garbage comes out of it, that's when it's considered kosher. Now this is going to be very hard to do because most things, if you're going to try to do libun on, they will be ruined. So on the things that are going to be ruined, you can't kosher. You got to throw them out. Now, if it's something that you cook with soup, or you have something that's wet, or something that has water, or even the rabbis bring down from the Shulchan Aruch, Rabbi David brings it down as well, even if you have a frying pan which is made to fry, but you put some oil on the bottom, that oil can make it that it doesn't need libun, it doesn't need that torch, but it needs hagala. Hagala is putting it in a boiling pot of water. You put it in a pot of water that's super hot, that's bubbling, you put it in, then you take it out, and we're going to see you have to put it into cold water after. So anything with water, that's hagala, and anything that's straight on the fire, that's libun. Now, an interesting question they bring down is if you go to a flea market, you have a lot of places where they give you kelim, they say it's used, they say that it's new. If you go to a place like that where you see nothing's in the packaging, what do? The rabbis say everything that you get from a flea market has to be kashered, because it's considered as if it's used. So again, if you have something that's used for, you have a shpud, you have one of these items that you rotisserie, or barbecue grill grates, things like that, then you have to do libun. Everything else you would have to do hagala for.
Which one do you do the hagala? Which one do you do the
Anything that is used with water or with a juice is hagala, which means you put it into water. Since it's used with water, you kasher it with water. And libun is, since you don't use it with any water, only on the fire, you kasher it on the fire, with a blowtorch.
What if you use a baking sheet on the baking?
So baking sheet is considered, the parchment paper
Yeah.
that wouldn't help. It goes through.
Okay.
Yeah.
You say, I know we need to put in a big things, that's agala, to make it kosher. It's depend, the kli that we put in, what you need to be, new, parve, how it's...
Very good question. Okay, we're going to speak about it. Exactly which keli do you put it in? The best thing to do is to always wait 24 hours in between, which means if you have a keli that you want to go and you want to make kosher, first of all, don't use the keli for 24 hours. And even the keli that you're going to put it in, they say also that it should be a eno ben yomo. It shouldn't be used for 24 hours, and then it wouldn't make a difference if it's parv or if it's dairy or if it's meat.
No, but I mean, if the kli it's meat, 24 hours pass, I put another inside,
Yes.
it's parve.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Then it goes back to its original status, and you can use it for whichever one you want.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah. Now, an interesting question they come up with also is if you buy something from Costco or something from one of these places where a lot of times people buy something and then they use it and then they give it back. So are you worried about buying something that was already used? So they say since most of the items are not, you can rely on that fact and it wouldn't be a problem. But if they rate on it refurbished, or if there's a store that's always cheaper, and you know there's got to be a reason why this is cheaper, it must be refurbished items, which means items that were already used and they're selling it for cheaper, those you would have to kasher. You would have to make kosher.
But which way? Through the fire or through water?
It all depends which
You
keli.
don't know.
You do know, because if it's a roasting pot, then you're roasting it, right? If it's grates, then you put it straight on. And this would apply even to spoons, to forks, to anything that you use. All kles seuda. Now, the one issue we have, and this is for wood and for plastic and for metal, one issue that we have is going to be glass. So glass is a machloket, it's a dispute if glass is bolea. Does glass suck in or does it not suck in? So if you put something milk in it, does the glass suck in the milk status or does it not? Sfaradim hold like the Shulchan Aruch that it does not. And you could use glass for anything. For meat, for milk, for hametz, for whatever you want. Ashkenazim hold the opposite, and they hold that you have to have separate meat, separate milk, separate pesach, separate everything. So that's a big thing between Sfaradim and Ashkenazim regarding glass, which leads us to Pyrexes and Duralexes. Now Pyrexes and Duralexes are glass, according to the Rabbi David Elbaz, and you could still use it for whatever you want. But me personally, I have separate for chametz, for meat, and for milk. What's the reason why? Since it's used in such hot temperature, and if you look at it after a while, you'll see it'll be yellow around it, around the edges, or in the middle of it, these Pyrexes. It must be that they're sucking in something. So when I did look into it, I did see that it's not just straight up chol and how they make it. They put some other stuff in it. Most people don't even know really what they put in these things or the amounts. But there's something else in it that would be bolea, would suck it in, and it could be an issue. Even though the rabbis say that Pyrex and Duralaxes are still good, but it's good to be machmir on it, to be stringent on it. Now, this will come to a kula for Ashkenazim. I called up I was looking at a Tzitz Eliezer. There's a Sefer Tzitz Eliezer that brings down that a Pyrex and a Duralex, let's go back. What's the reason why Ashkenazim can't use it? Why can't Ashkenazim use glass? Because it sucks in the milk or the meat taste. Now, why can't you kasher it according to Ashkenazim? Because since it's going to break if you kasher it, so we don't let you kasher it. It's going to break, so you're not allowed to. The Tzitz Eliezer says, but a Pyrex or a Duralex, it can go in extreme heat. It's not going to break. So since it's not going to break, he says that you could kasher it. So those are two items that Ashkenazim, according to the Tzitz Eliezer, Hartzvi also brings it, would hold that you could kasher it. I did call a posek, Rabbi Nelkenbaum, the Rosh Yeshiva of Mir Yeshiva, and I asked him. He says he doesn't know the Tzitz Eliezer, but the svara makes a lot of sense. He said it makes a lot of sense, and yesham adesmoch, you can do it. So if an Ashkenaz person wants to go and make it from meat to milk, or such, then that would be okay for these different items, or using it for Pesach that was used for Chol. Now there's a very big difference also regarding Ashkenazim and Sfaradim, which changes everything from here on, and that's called the Rov Tashmisho, which means what is the usage that you use it for? What do you use this item for more? Which means if you have a soup pot, and you always use it for soup, and then a couple of times you use it to roast a steak inside. Since most of the time you use it for soup, you only have to kasher it through hagala, which means through water, and not through libun, not through the torch, which will make a very, very big difference in the things that we're going to see going forward. Ashkenazim hold, no, it doesn't make a difference if you use it a lot or a little. Even if you use something a little bit, you have to kasher it in that way. So if one time, 2 times you go and you take an item that you always use for water, for soup, and you're using it to roast on top, you have to now do libun.
So what if again you use it for soup after you used it for...
Would it make a difference? If you want to go now and kasher it for Pesach or for whatever you want to kasher it for, you have to, according to Ashkenazim, you have to do libun on that item, and you can't do hagala anymore. Now,
There's no way I'm gonna roll with that.
yeah,
What about, okay, so like with glass,
yeah.
and can you buy like a glass like at like the flea market? And if you can't,
So if you're Sfaradiya, then you could take it and you can use it no problem. You just wash it out and you're perfect. If you're Ashkenaz, then that'd be a problem. You can't do that. So you have to buy everything new. Now, if you can't wait the 24 hours, like we said, between, let's say it's right before Pesach, like, oh shoot, I need to have this keli, what do I do? So the rabbis bring down that you fill it up with water and you put in the pot something that'll make it noten tam defkami, make it like you put soap or ammonia inside of it, and then it'll change whatever biliot, whatever taste comes out of it is going to get ruined right away because of this ammonia, and then you could use it right away. Of course, it's better to do the 24 hours, but if not, then you have a pot, you put the water, you put ammonia, and then you could put in your keli, your vessel, and you could kosher it like that, even if you used it 20 minutes before. Okay, now we're going to get to some of the items inside of a person's house. Number 1, sinks. You come into a new home. This happens all the time, or it's Pesach, and you want to go and you want to kasher your sink from chametz to matzah. So how do you do it? So now for Sfaradim, we're good right away. You don't have to kasher anything. I changed it. Rabbi Vaida brings down that you should kasher it. Cham Ben Zion brings down that you don't have to. My Rebbe says you don't have to as well. The reason why, according to Sfaradim, you do not have to kasher your sink whatsoever, he says, first of all, we have the din of rov tashmisho. Most of the usage in your sink is not hot. It's never going to be hot. It's going to be cold. You just put it there. You put on water. You wash your hands. Whatever it is, it's not there to build up heat. Second of all, it's a question if it gets that hot. Even when you wash the dishes, does it get that hot where it's enough to take out of the keli and put it into the sink walls? He said, and third of all, we look at it like a kli sheni, not a kli rishon. Now, a kli rishon means something that's so hot that it's on the fire. Okay, I'm sorry, there's a lot of different, it's very detailed, it's very hard, a lot of different topics over here. You have a kli rishon, which is something that's super hot, it's on the fire. That right away sucks in everything. You put something in, it'll suck in all the taste from it. A kli sheni, which means you take it off the kli rishon, you put it on your plate. That's already a kli sheni. That doesn't suck in as much, if anything at all. It's a machloket whether. We're machmir, but there are ways out of it. Rabbi Ben Zion says that when you have a boiler that's super hot, it goes through the pipes. You have the kli rishon, the pipes are already a kli sheni. And then once it goes into your sink, it's after kli sheni. Or at worst, it's a iru kli rishon. So since he says it doesn't get that hot, it's not bolea, it doesn't suck it in, it's not rov tashmisho, he says there's no problem. You can use it right away. This applies to porcelain sinks, right? Because porcelain, you can't kasher. Cheres is just like glass, according to Ashkenazim. You're not allowed to kasher it. For Sfaradim also, porcelain, you can't kasher. China, you can't kasher. No way out. You buy beautiful old china from someone, then you're stuck with it. If maybe you wait 12 months, and then you do hagala, it could be okay, according to some poskim, and yeshama l'smoch. But for the most part, it's unkasherable. So a sink, according to Sfaradim, would be good right away. Now, Ashkenazim hold that it's not going to be good. First of all, because of rov tashmisho and the other reasons that we said that don't apply to them. So they don't use a sink for 24 hours. And then they have to go and take a boiling hot kettle and they have to burn it out. They have to do hagala with water because that's what it's used for. Now, it's always good to make sure that you don't go from the sides. You have to do it from the inside out because once you go from the sides, the water's going to roll down. It's going to get cold already. You're going to dry it 1,000 times. It's going to be a waste of time. So you start from the outside and then you go all the way up to the walls, according to Ashkenazim, and they use this for basar b'chalav and they use this for hametz, for Pesach.
What about like inside, like people that hold not to clean it with the boiling water? What about all the stuff inside the garbage disposal that just like was there?
But that's already disgusting. First of all, soap goes in it, so that's going to ruin whatever's there anyway. And then I don't know if the taste will actually go all the way back up. I don't know if it would.
Doesn't usually.
Yeah,
Doesn't
yeah, unless it really gets
it's-
clogged
it's
up.
Still, isn't it like still sitting in the like in the crevices of the?
Inside the garbage disposal.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's fine. That doesn't do nothing. But it could be an issue for Ashkenazim because a lot of times when Moshe finds it brings down, best thing to do, just put a rack. And then you don't have to cash or anything. You put a rack, it never touches the walls, and you're perfect. He says, but make sure that the water doesn't come up. If it gets clogged and it comes back up, then you're going to have an issue. All the kelim, all the vessels that are on top of there could be not kosher. Okay, so that's how we work by sinks. Now you have ovens. How do you kosher ovens? I'm sorry? A toaster oven. Okay, fine. So let's just start with a toaster oven for the balat habayit. A toaster oven you can't kosher.
No.
Toaster ovens, if you're going to do libuna, because toast, right? It makes toast. It's not with water, it's with fire. If you're going to go and make libuna on it with a blowtorch, you will totally melt it right away. So it's unkosherable. Baruch Hashem, we live in America, it's $15. You buy a new one. Okay, so how do you do a regular oven? Now, if you want to kosher a regular oven, first of all, the best thing to do is if you have self-clean, you put it on self-clean. Yeah. So you put it on self-clean. It goes up to 900, 1,000 degrees. Those are the real ones. That's libun chamur. That's the best, and it kashers everything. Nowadays, the self-clean ovens, they don't make it go up to 900 or 1,000 because it always breaks. It gets too hot and it starts melting it and it breaks. So now it goes to 500, 550, which would also be good. They say you put it on the 500 on the highest, or you put it on the self-clean, and you leave it on for an hour, and then it's fine. You kasher the oven. And you can use it from basar to chalav or from meat to milk. Now, basar and chalav you only have to use it for, of course, if there's a reason why. If there's ze'ah, if there's a lot of steam or something falls down on it, things like that. If not, then it would be okay, stam. You wouldn't have to kasher in between.
How long can you, if you want to use the meat? I mean, if you used it for the meat and you want to use for the meal.
It all depends what you cooked. Did you cook
24
something
hours.
that's dry? Did you cook something wet? Did you cook something covered or uncovered?
Cover.
Me personally, I hold like Cham Yosef Harei Raful, and it's the minhag of Lakewood from Rav Aaron Cutler, that ze'ah in general, ze'ah, which means steam, is not a problem. So be'etzem, it'll never be a problem unless something falls down on it or it makes an abundance amount of steam where it's all wet. So you could just use meat and then you could use milk relatively soon after, once it gets dried, or it'll burn it out from the heat itself and it won't be a problem. That's what I hold. If you don't want to do like that, you want to do like Rabbi Ovadia and the other rabbis, they say that you wait 24 hours and then you're going to go and you're going to put it on 500 and then you're good. So those are the two ways to do it. For Ashkenazim,
They have two
Ashkenazim have two ovens. No, they do the same way. The Ashkenazim will do the same way that the Sfaradim do it, and then it's perfect. Now,
What do we do with microwave? Microwave.
okay, the microwave. Okay, fine. We're going to get to it soon, but we'll tell you now. A microwave, it's always best to take a microwave and buy a new one. You're buying too high-end stuff. You got to get for the cheaper stuff.
You're used to amazing savings. We don't have that over here.
Ellen is asking if you can kosher teeth.
They asked that question.
What?
Do you have to kosher teeth? It's a big
Dentures?
it's a big dispute if you have to kosher teeth. They say that it's best. The rabbis that say it's not a problem say it's not a problem because you never eat something so hot. Because if you ate something klidishon, you would burn your mouth. So nobody goes that hot. So it'll never be a problem. But the rabbis that say it's better to, even if it's a klishani, they say that you should put it into hot water before Pesach, right? I think they put it every night into. You have dentures?
No.
Okay. Well, we'll talk about it after. You put it into something that'll clean it. Because she asked in third person. Ellen wants to know. Now you have a stovetop. So this is where it gets technical. How do you deal with a stovetop? You have a stovetop. If it's gas, you turn on the gas to its highest. If you want, you put a blech on top. You put all of them on, then it won't be a problem. And then you heat it up till everything gets very hot. The middle of it, right? You have the metal in the middle. That you just pour boiling hot water on it, and then that'll be okay. Then you just kashered a gas stovetop, which doesn't really have it over here. It's also best on Pesach, you put aluminum foil in between and you're going to be okay. Now, if you have an electric one, same as the gas. Now, what do we do if you live in Florida and you have a glass stovetop? Now, glass is an issue. This is a very common question that rabbis get all the time. How do you kasher a glass stovetop, especially for Ashkenazim? So for Sfaradim, you're fine. It's made out of glass, no problem. Now, if you look at the glass itself, if you read about it, you'll see that inside this glass there's also different type of chemicals and items that are inside of it. So Rabbi Ezra Sharbani told me best what he tells people to do is to put it on the highest for 10 minutes. You should not put them all on and cover it with a blech. You will break the glass. So that's not what you do. You do one at a time, two at a time, at most. And then you pour over the whole thing boiling hot water, which goes with the red hot glass. And then it'll kasher the whole thing, and then you'll be fine.
Doesn't matter break?
No.
No.
No, it doesn't.
That's what they say people do, and it's fine. Now, how does this work by Ashkenazim? So Ashkenazim have a bigger problem with this. When I was learning with Rosh Shmuel Meir Katz, the posek of Lakewood, he said that how do you kasher the middle? The middle, the glass part, that part, you have to look at it as if it's not kosher. Whatever touches it, you have to look at it as if it's not kosher. That's how Ashkenazim would do it in this place, because there's no way of kashering it, according to Ashkenazim. I was thinking that really it should be good with this tzitz Eliezer, since it could get so hot. You see, there is a way of kashering it. I didn't talk to any posek about it, so I have to get back to you to see if that's a true statement. Right? So you leave it for 24 hours. You don't do anything with it. You put on the burners, and then you look at the inside as if it's treif, as if it's not kosher. The grates themselves, you just have to turn them on to the highest, and it'll be fine. Around it, you could put tinfoil. Rav Moshe Feinstein says you don't have to put tinfoil around the grates if you have one of those types of stovetops, and it'll be fine. Now, a barbecue grill. A barbecue grill is kosher, is libun. You need to make it as hot as possible, because since it's used as a blowtorch, it's used just with fire and no juice. To kosher it, you have to do the same thing. So what do? You close it, you turn it on the highest. If you want, you put in, if it's a coal one, you fill coals up to the top and let it burn. If it's a electric one, that's a problem. You should get a new one. But if it's a gas one, then you put it on the highest, and you leave the gas running for an hour till it burns the whole thing out. There are some people that put even a piece of wood in there to get super, super hot, so that everything's really taken out of it.
What if you haven't used it in a year?
You still have to do that. You still have to kosher it. The only time by China or by Cheres they say if it's not for a year, there are ways out of it. If it's a hefsed, if you're gonna lose money over it. Now, hot plates. You have a plata.
He wants me to go shopping.
Im yesh la plata, and you want to go and use it for chametz, from chametz to for Pesach. You pour boiling water over it, and best to cover it with tin foil because no one ever roasts on it. Yes.
על הפלטה לשפוך מים
hot,
חמים.
Yeah, why not?
hot or like plugged in or just?
No,
Take hot water and you pour it over. The black plata that you put your kibbeh on top. Huh?
If you should turn
Oh,
on.
no, enough, Kamina. Doesn't make a difference.
isn't it gonna ruin the plata? זה חשמלי או מה?
It's metal. No, it's a move the plug away. No, it's not going to do nothing. Right. So, very good. So she brings up a very good point. The chatchila, the truth is, nobody ever puts food straight on it. It's always in a tin, or it's always in something. So really, you don't have to kosher it. Chumrat de pischa, you should go and you should put tin foil, or you should kosher it like that. If you put tin foil, you don't have to put any, you don't have to put water on top.
A lot of people putting chalot on it.
If you put chalot straight on. Okay.
What's that? Yeah.
Chalot warm it up.
Right. If you put chalot straight on, then you put tin foil as a separation and you'll be okay.
Also the table like that.
Table as well. Very good. So now they come to shulchanot. You have a table and you want to go and you want to use it. It's a glass table. It's a wood table. It doesn't make a difference what it's made out of. A plastic table. Now, if you always use it with a tablecloth, you're fine. You just put a new tablecloth for Pesach or for basar, halal, whatever you want, and that's okay. If not, then you have to go and you have to pour hot water on that also. A lot of times by wood, you'll find it could be destructive. So you have to be careful how you do it. If it's going to be destructive, then make sure you put a tablecloth.
Only hot water. Only hot water. Because like my grandma, she takes a stone and she does something like that. Or the
Oh, very good. Yeah. So there's a different way. It's called with a stone.
no
But-
hot water and the stone, and she goes like that.
Right. So how they do it is that since people hold that since you put the water on it and the water gets colder, so they have something called an even miluban. They have a hot stone that they put on top that'll keep it and make it very, very hot. They also use that stone if you want to kosher a pot and the pot's too big. You can't put it in a different pot. So what do? You take the stone, you make it very hot, you drop it in after this pot is full of water and it's also hot, and then it goes over the rim. So you just kosher the pot with that brick. Now, 3 more things. The same thing applies, okay, high chairs or baby bottles, thing like that. You're going to go and you put water on it, which would be fine. A Keurig machine. You have a Keurig machine that you want to kosher for Pesach, or it's a treif one, really. So what do you do?
Keurig machine.
A Keurig, an espresso machine. You take out the item that's metal, that makes the hole in it, right, if it was used for not kosher. You do hagala on that. You pour the boiling hot water on it, and then you put a kosher K-cup inside, and you do 1 run with the kosher K-cup, and then you're good. You're fine.
But, I mean, I can skip my coffee for Pesach, but
Yeah.
is coffee, the little cups, it's pure coffee, the OU, it have to have specific hechsher for Pesach?
Not coffee.
Well, regular coffee, I guess this is, okay, we turn to the
the
Pesach shoot. If you look in the Sefarim, they bring down, Rabbi Blumenkrantz brings it down, regular caffeinated coffee does not need a hechsher, decaf does. Just for you to know, you could check that up after.
Rabbi, there is a list for kosher, not for the store, like some products that
Pesach?
that
Of course.
we're allowed to. It doesn't have to be like from the kosher store.
Yeah.
There is?
Yeah.
What are the opinions about the inserts? There's a plastic insert, I have 2 of them. I have one for Pesach and I have one that I use throughout the year.
Okay.
And it's a little black insert, inside of it has like the mesh, and you put your coffee inside and then you close it and then you stick it inside the machine.
So you take that plastic piece, you do hagala on it,
Okay.
and then you're fine. You put the boiling hot water on top. Now, 2 more items. Countertops. Countertops, really, again, according to Sfaradim, since it's not rov tashmisha, since you don't always use your countertops to put hot things on top of, right? Maybe in Israel they use it much more. not so much over here. So really, you wouldn't have to kasher it at all. But maybe sometimes you put your hot bread straight from the oven onto it. So it's best to do hagala or just cover it and you're fine. For Ashkenazim, that's what you should do. You should take hot water, put it over the countertops, and then it'll be kosher, or cover it with tinfoil or
But
whatever it is that you do.
I don't have to cover it, right? To cover it with a tin foil.
You don't have to,
I
no.
don't have to.
No, one or the other.
Okay.
Doesn't it matter what the type of surface is for your countertop?
What-
Because I have in the new house that I'm in, before I had granite countertops, now I have like, I don't know how to describe it.
It's a wonderful question. Granite,
It's
quartz, formica, all those
I wanna say it's
are
like a type of
kasherable.
Formica.
Yeah, so that's like a type of plastic. That's going to be okay. But if it's made out of tile, then that's an issue. You can't kasher that. You're going to have to go and put something on top.
On the surface.
Yeah. Okay, the last thing is going to be dishwashers. How do you kasher a dishwasher?
You let
can.
it run.
Run the cycle.
But that's what you're here for. You're here to learn what you could do, not what you can't do.
You clean it and you do it without nothing.
Well, without anything
Gotta
and
wait till
soap
here.
and, no?
Okay, so according to Rabbi Ben Zion Basha'u, he says you don't have to kasher it at all. Why don't you have to kasher it? He says since we consider dishwashers at worst like an irui kli rishon, which means not a kli rishon where it gets so hot. Again, you really have to know the dishwashers. Some of them spray out water, so that's not considered a kli rishon. That's not hot right away that goes around. Some of them, they fill up with water and then they get hot. So those could be an issue, but usually they don't have those. They have the ones that spray out the water. So since he says it's a irui kli rishon, and he says maybe even a kli sheni, and you're always using soap, you're always putting detergent inside of it, which makes everything noten tam defkam, it makes everything disgusting and bad right away. There's no taste that's coming out of it. He said it's going to be fine without kashering it. I believe the best thing to do is like the Ashkenazim would actually do, is to
Clean.
clean it,
And to
put a cycle, maybe put a cycle with detergent and an empty cycle, or just put an empty cycle and yeah. The chatchila you don't have to. Even for Ashkenazim you don't have to do both. But if you want to do both, dishwasher with detergent and then dishwasher clean, and then you'll be good to use it from one to the other. But it's good to note that on the bottom of the dishwashers, a lot of times there is food that gets stuck inside that little mechanism, that filter on the bottom. That you have to unscrew and you have to check it out, and that could be an issue. Now, I will conclude with this. Since we're learning about all the differences between Ashkenazim and Sfaradim regarding halacha, there is a Gemara that says that in Olam Haba, when Hashem comes down and shows us His glory, all the tzaddikim will be around Him in a circle, and they're going to be pointing at Him. That's what the Gemara says. They're going to be pointing at Hashem. And there's a certain rabbi that asks, why does it have to be a circle? I get it, they're going to be pointing at Him and showing how great He is. Why in a circle? So they explain, I heard from Rabbi David Kaplan, he explained, he said that everyone likes the way they are. He said, if you go to a Sfaradi person, and you say, do you respect Ashkenazim? Well, all the things that they do, what they're stringent on, what they're this, what they're that. He'll say, of course I respect them. Yeah, I respect them, it's good, they're doing it very nice. What does he think inside? But the truth is, I know I'm right. That's what everyone thinks. They go to Ashkenaz guy, they say, oh yeah, Sfaradim, no, of course, you have the Shulchan Aruch. But they know, but really, we're the right way. We know what we're doing. So it's coming to say that everyone's going to be in a circle. When you're in a circle, everyone sees in the same exact angle. You can see the other person's perspective from where you are. So an Ashkenaz, a Sfaradi, a Chabad, a Hasid, everyone's going to be there seeing the other person's point of view. And that's what it's all about, taking away the machloket, showing that we're all one nation, bringing the Asifah of Hashem, coming together to bring Mashiach. Rav Simcha Wasserman, he's Rav Chanan Wasserman's son, he was by a rabbinic convention in Yerushalayim with a lot of rabbanim, and a reformed rabbi comes over to him, and he says, how come we have so many different sects of Judaism? How come there's so many different, you have so many, you have Reform and Conservative and Orthodox and Haredi and Dati and everything, why do we need so many? So he explained, he says, that's because we have so many different parts of our army. We need the ground troopers, we have the Air Force, we have everything that we need. We have the tankers, and everyone has a different mission that we need to do. So the guy smiles and he says, and what are the Reformed? And he says, every army has deserters. You're the deserters. You're the ones who left us. right? But of course, it doesn't mean not to be nice to people. If you have a guy who's reformer who doesn't believe what you believe, you be nice to him, you be cordial, you be civil, you help him out if his tire pops on the side of the road. But Lama said to know that together we're all one nation, and to bring Mashiach, that's what we need to do from this Remes in the Pasuk, Asifat Hashem, the Osif, to bring everyone together, and that would bring unity. To know that sometimes it's very hard to get away from machloket and from pain, but to know that what you get out of it is so much more than you're giving. It says the Shla brings down, I'm sorry, now I'm going off on a tangent, the Shla Kadosh brings down, he says if you would know that when you would get embarrassed from someone, even in arguing and not arguing, that how many mitzvot go off, you would chase people to try to make fun of you. You would chase people because all your avirot get off because of it. If you become the better person, like Rabbi Goldberg's father-in-law, and you say, you know, even though this person did crazy, terrible things to me, at the end of the day, he's a person and I'm going to be nice to him because this is what Hashem wanted, then what do we have to lose? Baruch Adonai L'olam, Amen v'Amen. So to cash your microwaves, the best thing to do for microwaves, if you can't buy a new one, is if you take, since it's done through steam, you take a cup, you put the cup in the middle, you get it all, you heat it up for 5 minutes, 2-3 times, you can put it in different places, and the steam now is kosher, right? So you have the steam that made it not kosher, you're doing it the same way. The same way they made it not kosher, you're making it kosher, you're doing it with that. Some people like to put soap or ammonia inside of it to make it pagum as well, and that's how you would be able to kosher a microwave.